Welcome back. Let's get into the market picture then, which certainly has been quite positive of late, and even today opening up in some very positive territory as well. We're seeing the Asian market go into some really good numbers here, record territory for the most part, although Hong Kong and China are still closed in, of course, for the Lunar New Year holiday. We are still seeing some gains across most of the parts of the Asian region as well. Then the Asia Pacific market outside of Japan doing very well, also record territory continuing to climb. Investors just hoping that we certainly will see a growth with regards to the global economic situation. And what actually happens when the markets begin to open up just a little bit more, because the vaccine rollouts begin to be happening quite prodigiously as well around the globe. So very interesting sense as well over there. That's why you're seeing that positivity on that front. It means that even on the local front, we're seeing some, or rather should I say on the European front, we're seeing some positivity as well. There 1.4% to the good is the FTSE 100 out in London. It's just around 93 points better off then. So the big gainer today, and really showing exactly why, with the DAX also in Germany going up 0.33%, more than 1% gained as well for the CAC 40 out in France. Locally as well, we're taking in a whole lot of this positivity and taking it home with us. 66,766. At this level, we're going to just keep on rolling in those record highs as well. Nearly 1% gain today. So really doing well out on that front. The resources are the big gainers today. They've taken home 2.85% of gains, and that's because, of course, within that resources sector, you have gold miners and platinum miners both heading in positive territory. Diversified miners also doing fairly well today, 2.75% to the good there for the white metal miners there today. Industrials also managing to tick up, even if it is only just. Unfortunately, banks seeing a little bit of red, mostly flat stance, with banks not giving them too much help though, but they are 0.25% better off at this stage, with the listed property segment falling as well today. In terms of companies that have gone higher today, the likes of Steinhoff have gone up more than 17%. Textainer and Hammerson, which have fallen quite prodigiously last week, are now back up more than 7% gain for Textainer, and now sits at 320 Rand a share there. Also the negative ones, City Lodge has gone down more than 4% today. It's at 340 a share. Astral has also gone into negative territory, 4% lost, 135 Rand 28 cents a share there, with Fortress also losing out today nearly 4%. Let's head on over to the commodities market then. We're seeing that the price of Brent crude oil has gone up to $63.27 a barrel today. It's 1.33% better off. These are levels we last saw in January of last year. So really continuing to see a whole spike then when it comes to Brent crude oil. Tensions out in the Middle East as well, between the Houthis in Iraq and, of course, the Saudi coalition as well out on that front. It really does not bode well for South Africa in terms of the petrol price, but that oil price is just going to keep on climbing. The more tension there is in that Middle Eastern region, just more tension just means that it will be a little bit more difficult to extract oil out of that region. And once that happens, it means that supply lessens. Once the supply lessens, then it just means that the price goes a whole lot higher, because supply is down, demand remains the same, and so that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to increase the price at those levels. Platinum has gone up 2.8%. It's headed towards $1,300 an ounce there, so that's going to be very interesting once it gets there too. How much demand will it get, and how much can it just continue to rally? Will it be able to continue to rally then? $1,820 a fine ounce there, with 0.2% weaker though for gold, while on the local front we're doing better off. 14 Rand and 44 cents against the US dollar. Again, marks that we haven't seen for quite some time, over a year in fact, for the local currency, with 0.75% better off against the greenback. Similar mark as well when it comes to the euro. That's how much better off we are. 17 Rand and 52 odd cents, 20 Rand 8 cents for a British pound. That's 0.33% weaker, or stronger should I say, on our front. A pretty flat stance then for Bitcoin, sitting just under $48,000 US dollars a Bitcoin. Bright Khumalo as well is set to actually join us as well today. It's a good afternoon to you, Bright Khumalo from Vestac Asset Management. The general tinge of the market just seems to be records, and more records. Where are we getting all this positivity?
Look, I think you're referring to the U.S. record close that we saw on Friday, where the Dow, S&P 500, and the Nasdaq basically closing in the week in green, up about, I think for the month of February, on the S&P 500 side, up above, about 4.7% for the month of February. And on the Nasdaq side, we're seeing up close to 7%, 6.7% for the month of February. So it's, again, I mean, this is on the back of, good news. The reflation trade is back on the market, meaning basically the Fed, Chairman Jerome Powell is basically saying that monetary policy is going to be accommodative as much, to the near future, essentially. So it's good news if you invested in those markets where, there's accommodative monetary policy. And obviously now President Biden has got, his own agenda, of which he wants to administer about 100 million vaccines in the first 100 days in office. And he says the U.S. has capacity basically and they're on track of around 300 million vaccines that they've secured. So that's also, been good news for those markets going up. If we turn into, Asian markets, we saw the Japanese market closing, above 30,000 points, for the first time in 20 years, all-time highs. This is on the back of good GDP numbers. So, we'll take any good news that we're finding right now.
We'll take any good news. You're 100% right there. How much influence then does things like the oil price and the issues that we're seeing out in the Middle East and those and the impact that that's having on the price of oil go higher? How much impact will that have sort of on market sentiment, or is that pretty much to be expected, I suppose?
Right now, well, overnight, the price of oil did actually surge a bit. I mean, the last time I checked, the local oil price was north of $63. The Brent was north of $63.21. This is US dollars. So it's it's been getting stronger, but obviously artificially so, because all of these guys are sitting on big stock, and eventually they're going to let go at some point, and that won't be, that won't bode well for the price of Western Texas and Brent crude oil. So, the oil trade is not a good one right now, but, I like to see oil below 60, below 50, which is always good for the consumer. I don't think we need oil above, for example, $70 a barrel.
It seems the trend, though, is to try and find something different, if I can call it that, something that's perhaps going to give you the best opportunity that not everybody is perhaps looking at right now. Do you get a sense that there is somewhere in the market to find opportunity right now? Is there still opportunity, considering that we are seeing gains across the globe, though, when it comes to this market at present? Are there still areas where investors can plug into and say, yeah, I can still get gains there?
Look, if you're a long-term investor, the best time to invest is today, right? Because the market goes up over time, and that's what has happened in the past and for a very long time, mainly because population grows, and obviously economic growth goes hand in hand with that, as people find more efficient ways of living together, and in a place where basically everything is growing. And that leads to obviously those businesses operating in those kinds of environment actually growing with the population, growing, with the economy, etc. In terms of pockets of opportunities that we're looking at in the market, there's definitely still a lot. But again, they're few and far between, and you have to comb through the noise to actually find some good opportunities. I mean, last year we were touting, technology as one of the potential areas that were going to benefit from the COVID-19 pandemic. But now we're seeing, we're looking at opportunities, reversion to the mean type kind of opportunities that are going to come out of the economy going back to normal. So those, manufacturing type businesses that have been hard hit by COVID, some of those entertainment plays, and a lot of basically the companies that actually were, battered and crippled by the COVID-19 pandemic. Those who survived the pandemic should be fast in terms of, the turnaround when basically when the world opens up again.
All right, well, as you said, few and far between. So difficult to get by on these opportunities. But certainly if you do your homework, you do your research, of course, you could find something long-term especially is quite interesting on that front. Bright, appreciate the time though. Thank you so much for joining us here on SABC News this Monday afternoon. Bright Khumalo from Vestac Asset Management joining us and helping us unpack this market picture. Let's take a short